Hello and welcome to Tool Review Day here on Model Kit Stuff, and today we're looking at premium zebra sanding sticks from Infini. Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Yes, we're looking at these sanders. So this is the third video looking at the range of Infini sanders. So we've looked at the glass ones, and we've looked at the soft sanding sticks, and now we're taking a look at these. Now, why they're called zebra sanding sticks, I have not the foggiest. This is my spares pack, so these are all new, not been used, so you can see what they look like. They have this strange white speckled effect, but that goes over time. As you can see, it's sort of, they lose the white bit. So these complement the soft sanding sticks that we talked about in the previous video. And when I say they complement them, what I mean is these go to 7,000 and stop at 400. These start at 100, so you've got coarser grits, and they stop at 400. So we have an overlap on 3 grit grades, and that's handy. I'll explain why in a bit. So you can go from coarser sanding right up to polishing with these two sanding stick products. Now, obviously, the difference is the size of them. So they're considerably bigger than the soft sanding sticks. So what are you going to get? You've got, I've never measured these, so out of interest, we've got an extra 5 centimeters of length on there, and an extra 1 centimeter of width. So they're quite considerably bigger, and that can be really handy, especially when you're doing circular sanding. So if, for example, you want to sand a flat on the back of this spinner, for example, the way you do it is in a circular motion, and having greater width means that you've got more space to do that. It's a bit more difficult to do it on this one. You're having to do smaller moves. So I've definitely found the width of these really handy. And my most common grits for sanding jobs across my full range of modelling, whether it be ships, aircraft, vehicles, tends to be these 3 here. 6, 4 and 8. So the fact that we have this overlap with the smaller ones is really, really handy, because it gives me an increased range of flexibility. Because although these, you'd be surprised, can be used on a 172 fighter, you'll be surprised how much use you can get out of them on smaller kits. They do have some limitations because of both their size and their length. So take, for example, this. It's difficult to get in and sand this nub here with this big sanding stick. It's not impossible. You can use the corner and very small motions and you can get it done, but if you're like me, you like to use big sweeping motions and just crack on with the job. And although these again will give you more access to these smaller areas, you probably still want some form of skinny stick, something you can get in a bit more localized, or the good old emery board that you can cut down to size. So they don't cover all the jobs, however they do cover most jobs, and the additional length means that you can run long distances and sand really evenly. So if you've got something like a wing edge or something on a 132 aircraft, these are really handy for those sort of jobs. But yeah, just because it's big doesn't mean it's difficult to use, and in fact it actually makes them quite comfortable. So that I can go in, I can hold it and grip it so that I can apply pressure on an end like so. And my 172 B17, not an issue. But I can also hold it in various different ways, whereas I'm a bit more limited with this because of how thin it is. You tend to hold it sort of like that, and that's it. Whereas I can get some good grip, I can hold it at the end and see what I'm doing. So there's quite a bit of versatility with these larger, wider ones. And if you're doing big jobs like, I don't know, dioramas and stuff like that, or a ship's hull, as I'm going to be doing very soon with these other sanding sticks I'll be using for that. And it doesn't matter whether it's 1-200, 1-300, 1-400, or even 1-700. This is covering off your area quicker, so it saves you time over these. So I think they're a nice addition to the soft sanding sticks. I've used these for somewhere between 8 and 12 months now. I can't exactly remember. And I've used them quite a bit, and you'd be surprised how often I've used these coarse grit ones. You'll have seen me use all of these on my build projects on the channel. But yeah, when you've got a nub that you need to take down, particularly on an older kit where you've got a big chunky nub, these can be a really good way of taking that down quickly and roughing it out. I probably find the 220 is the next one that you use after the 800, and the coarser the grit, basically, the less often you use it. Now, I think you can buy these in packs in the same way as you can with these, where you can buy a pack of just that one grit. But I would suggest you probably want to buy the full pack that comes with a bit of everything, and then work out which ones you need to replace, and then as they wear, and then buy the individual packs to top them up. That's what I do with these, and I generally find that I buy a pack of 600 because that's the one I wear out the most. It's the grit I use the most. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to buy into these, buy the full pack size, and then you've got one of everything, and work out how often you need to replace the others and buy them separately if you can. As for firmness, well, it's still a sanding sponge. So unlike this, which is really hard, I mean, it has flex in it, but it's really hard. There's no sponge on it. This does have a sponge on it, and it has a plastic substrate and then sponge both sides being the same grit. And I would say that actually, even though these are called soft in their title, I would argue there's no difference between these two. And when you look at it, look at the laminations, the plastic substrate is the same thickness, the foam is the same thickness, so the resistance is going to be, unless it's a different foam, is going to be the same, and they appear to be the same to me. So the main advantage is the fact that you've just got this big size, which means you can cover big areas. But you are still going to need something that's smaller, and you are going to need something you can cut down for different jobs. So it's not a case of I can buy these and I can do every job. Definitely not. But you're getting close with both of those. So they do complement themselves really, really nicely. And you'd be surprised how many times I've reached for one of these and started a job, and then I've gone and finished the job with one of these. Or some other times I've actually gone in, grabbed one of these sanding sticks, started sanding a job and gone, oh, this is taking forever. Where's my big one? You know, and it makes all the difference. So I really like them. I've got to say, I really like them. I've not had any issues with, whereas you get issues on these thin ones where they start to gather. Let's see if I've got something I can show you what I mean. Yeah, here. So you can see here, there's a little lump just there. If I hold it that way and exaggerate it, you can see how that's raising and it's actually starting to delaminate a little bit. And that happens where you've got a soft sponge and it's being constantly bent. So on these thinner ones, you find that that happens even where it's a relatively thin sponge. It's just the stress on it being thin. I've not had that issue here. I've got a little wrinkle. You can't even really see it, but I've got a little wrinkle running there and there in this one. And if I over exaggerate it, you can see. But there's so little flex in these that it's not really becoming a problem at this point. And you know, I'm nearly a year into these and I'm still using these. The grit seems to hang on and keep its correct level of gritness for quite some time. When I compare this, which is 4 months, 6 months old, something like that, this feels a little smoother, but there's not much in it. So they seem to hold the grit for a really long time as well. So for me, these are a really handy tool and I love using them. I have them permanently out on my desk ready to go, and it, you know, I can go from getting really biblically rough with something, and I'll show you how rough we can be. You can see that is quite coarse, but it takes the job down really, really quickly. But I can go from biblical levels of plastic removal all the way up to a really polished finish by using these two systems together. So I'm a big fan. I really like them. I've used a lot of different sanding sticks over the years, all sorts of brands, and I have to say these two sanding stick brand products are up there with my favorites. I really enjoy using them. They're my go-to brand now, and I don't do recommendations because if I give a recommendation, someone can come back to me and say, you said these were brilliant and I didn't like them, and I spent this amount of money because you said. Right, so I don't do recommendations. What I will say is I love using them. I know other people that share that same view. I think they're a great addition to your tools, and if you think they might work for you, then go and give them a try. Now in the UK, this full set of sanding sticks will cost you around about £8.50, thereabouts, £8.25, £8.50, that sort of price, which makes them slightly cheaper than these. Obviously you get 8 in there and you're only getting 6 in there. And so those are, as you can see, around about the £9.50 mark. So between them, for less than £20, you can get a full range of sanding sticks, and I think that's awesome. So there you have it, the premium Zebra sanding stick and my thoughts on them. I've used them extensively. If you've been following the channel, you've been watching me use them for quite some time now. And I like to keep them in stock because I don't want to run out of them, and that says a lot about what I think about the product. Whereas other tool brands that I've used, I haven't gone back to, so that tells you that I'm happy with the product. So there we go. That's my thoughts on the Infini Premium Zebra sanding sticks. I think they're a great product. I enjoy using them. And I think they're worth you looking at. Hope that was useful. You enjoy your modelling, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.